in this video, I'm going to show you how I made these custom charcuterie boards, cut inlays in each one. This one actually has shark's teeth in it. And we're going to get into the actual build and actually show you how easy it really is to make. So stay tuned and we'll get into this. All right, so here's the deal. I got this piece of rosewood the other day, and we need to make 2 charcuterie boards out of this. The person who requested them to be roughly 12 inches wide, about 18 inches long. It's going to have a handle on it. One of them, she wants the state of Ohio shape cut into it or something done with it like that. The other one's state of Florida. So I'm trying to plan out how exactly I want to do this. This board gets narrower here at this end. And I'm thinking that the handle of one of them needs to come up into here to utilize some of the space, because otherwise it's going to be wasted. Now I do have some little cracks in here, so I want to try to avoid that. I'm thinking of ending it right here. So somewhere in this vicinity, I'm looking at cracks on the board. Somewhere in that vicinity has got to be the end of the handle. Now we have some heartwood and sapwood on this. I don't really care. We're just going to go with the natural characteristic. And if it has some sapwood on it, no big deal. This, obviously is a live edge. And the customer said to do with it what I think looks best. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get a rough measurement of 18 inches. So we want to be somewhere in this area here, roughly, for the end of that. All right, so I think what I decided was I'm going to leave the live edge on, then bring it up towards the handle, bring it up towards the handle. The challenge is going to be when I go to the CNC, these edges aren't straight, and inside the CNC machine, everything has, it has a squared up fence type of system. So what I'm going to have to do is just base everything off of this end line. I'm going to probably cut it out sideways, so this will be state of Ohio, and I'll have to manually line it up. Same thing with this, the Florida, going to go here, and I'll again manually line it up. I'm not sure if I should turn the state so it's this way and this way, or sideways. I'm leaning towards, I don't know what. That's going to have to be decided too. But I'm going to cut this and establish this straight line right here, and then I will go from there. All right, so I've supported this piece pretty well underneath. So, and I made a fence here. Just used my square, clamped it down, and have this all set up so that I can just cut through this. Hopefully this blade reaches the whole way through, but it should hit my line pretty close. And then we'll be at least partway ready to go. Charcuterie board 1 will come out of this. And charcuterie board 2 will come out of this other half. All right, so I've given this a little bit of thought. So you have a live edge. And what I think is that this should be the surface of the board. This should be the bottom, and the live edge is sloping away from the main surface. And the reason I feel that way is by having it slope down, it makes it a little bit easier to grab underneath on the table. This way, when it's laying flat on the table, it's harder to grip. So it might just be easier to pick up. But this side, not sure how easy it is to see, but there are some splits here. I need to avoid the splits, and I cannot see those splits on the other side. So I'm going to probably need to draw the handle on here, and then at least cut part of it out, and then finish off the shape from the other side so I meet these edges real nice. So it's going to be a little bit of a multi-step process here. So I'm going to work on drawing this handle. Now I did a little bit of research and just looking at some other ones online, And I want something, I want it to have a little bit of substance so that it doesn't break. You never know with this wood if you're going to hit a weak spot. So I'm going to kind of go like this and then maybe come down and bounce it back up and go something like that. The nice thing about these is there's not really a set way to do it. So it's just kind of however you want. So something maybe like that. So it goes, and then a hole, something like that. That's kind of the plan. I like how that looks. I'm gonna check my measurement here, see if we're about the right length. I mean, yeah, that's almost 19 inches. I think that'll be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my jigsaw out just so I can see exactly where I'm working here when I go to do the other side. Now, I will say this. I've never actually used rosewood before, so I'm kind of excited. See how it turns out. I'm going to check this end. I'm looking for any kind of splits. Make sure we stayed out of those little cracks. I think we're really good here. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to redraw it how I want it. Oh, I really liked how I had it. Now I don't even know what I did. We kind of dipped in, back up and out. So we're going to kind of dip in, back up and out. And this one, I dipped back in, up and out. So I kind of came along like this, dipped back in like this. Hopefully that looks okay. I don't know. All right, I'm going to drill a hole here. I'm going to cut this handle, and we'll work on the other one. All right, always when you're drilling, put a piece of wood underneath. I actually was using the impact. That's why it was ratcheting. It's just a little quicker than chucking it up in my actual drill. And I actually don't have a really good drill here. My son kind of swiped it from me. So it's in my Ohio shop and needs picked up the next time I go up there because I got him one for Christmas. So, coming to get that back, Austin. But let's cut this out. It's weird, I've never used this. It kind of smells like tobacco. It's kind of a strange smell for this rosewood. It's really hard to see. Can't see my lines. Well, needs filed. I'll file this out, sand it real good. I think we're about ready for the state on this one. Then we'll get the other one done similar. I'm just going to take a file, clean up this inside. Well, I'm not going to bore you with all this. You get the picture. All right, so I'm getting ready to cut. I think I'm going to start with the Florida one, only because I'm going to do something a little special with that one, and I'm going to drop some shark's teeth in and epoxy those down in. I need some extra drying time, so that one kind of has to be my priority. Here's the problem, though. These live edges and the tapered edge that tapers down, when you go to tighten these toggles, it pops it up. So I was trying to figure out how to hold the workpiece in place. I don't have a double-sided tape, which would potentially work. But what I did was I made a little block with a notch on it that it's just, the whole purpose is going to be to hold this down, and it'll be out of the way of the cutting tool.
Are you sure?
And so I'm going to screw this down, and I'm hoping that this will help keep it from popping up, and then I can toggle this in. I may need a second one over here. I'm not sure. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully it should only go out about 2 inches this way, 2 inches this way, and we'll probably get into that a little bit. As always, UFC champ Daniel Cormier is on for the ride, and we will get this thing cut. So a little commentary here. Not sure if you can hear me, but having a little regrets here. This is looking a little smaller than I pictured, but it might be okay when it's all said and done. I'm going to drop some shark teeth down in there. I'm not sure. Pretty small. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Well, it finished. Everything turned out good. But I was in the house. I stepped in the house for a minute while I was cutting. And I happened to think, that's almost all done. And then I happened to think, oh no, the block I screwed down is now in the path of the return. And I did not think about that. And as you can see right here, we got a broken bit.
Nah, you see, you got gritty.
The cutter head was down, or the end mill was down, and man, I wish they would raise that up the whole way to return, because probably wouldn't have been a problem, but it hit this and snapped it right off when it hit that. So now I'm out a bit. Fortunately, I do not need that bit for the Ohio one I'm doing, because I'm just doing a little V bit and I'm just going to engrave the outline.
Really?
So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to get some shark teeth ready, try to get a plan for how to fill this, and then get some epoxy out and epoxy those shark teeth down in the bottom of this. I've got these shark teeth in. I'm going to mix up some epoxy. This is kind of tricky because they all have weird different shapes, and so I don't want them sticking up, so I just kind of got a straight edge, and I just went over top of the entire thing like that to make sure that they all cleared. I got to carefully pour this epoxy in now. It's just going to be clear just to hold everything in. I don't want to sand this too much after it's poured and end up having, corners sticking up. So I got to be extra careful with this. So we're going to mix this epoxy up and see how it pours. Now, one thing I wanted to note on this was I'm worried about pouring in here and making these all move around. So I'm actually going to use a syringe. This is just a non-needle ended syringe. It's easier to just gradually place in here. So I'm going to take my time when I do this and just gradually squirt epoxy in various areas. And it's going to take a little bit of time to get this filled up, but I'm going to do it right. You kind of got to let this settle down in, let that epoxy just fill in any gaps. And so I'm going to let this set for a minute, and I'm going to come back. I'm just going to keep topping it off. I'll probably keep hitting it with that heat gun just to get it so that the bubbles are out, and it kind of sometimes can make it a little thinner, and maybe my hope is for it to find its way down in all the little cracks. So this is going to be a process. I already got a drip on here. I'm not too happy about that, but it'll sand out hopefully. And so the epoxy is dried. Something must not have been quite level because there's a little low over here, a little high over here. I'm going to sand this try to even things up. I got a little drip here. Looks like I got a little drip right there. So I'm going to start with an 80 grit, and I'm going to work up through and get this thing ready for finish. I do need to do a little round over here on this handle and then this hole. Probably going to use a router for that with just a little round over bit. So that is the last step before finish on this one. I got to cut out the other one yet. I got the handle cut. I just don't have the engravement part done, and then I'll need to sand the other one as well. So we're going to move forward on the sanding here. All right, I have the router set up. I was going to route the top edge, the long top edge, so right here, right there, but and right here. The problem is it wanders. I can't run it against the fence because of the live edge. And if I try to run it, the bearing is going to go way in here and it's going to cut weird. So I really feel like that has to be just sanded to get rounded over. And what I'm going to use this for is the stuff that's hard to sand, which is up here by the handles. And inside here, and I'll do that on both sides. A little bit more difficult to reach, and I think this will work a lot better. I just have to be careful as I transition to the live edge here and here to make sure I don't accidentally go too far and start having problems. So that's where I am with this. Anything I can't get, and I'll probably just stop a little short of that live edge. I'll just sand it. Should be fine. This is the second one I haven't done anything with yet. This is going to be, I guess, engraved with the state of Ohio instead of doing the full pocket cutout like I did with the Florida one.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to route these. Then I'm going to get on this with the CNC and get it ready for finish. The other one's actually ready for finish now. Little change of plans here. Getting ready to do the Ohio cutout. Talked to the client. They decided they wanted the entire state cut out into a pocket cut is what we call it, and then filled with kind of a peachy colored epoxy. So I'm not gonna do the outline anymore.
I knew it.
And just gonna fill it. So I found another bit since I broke my other bit yesterday cutting the Florida state out. So we're going to try to keep a closer eye on this one, and when it's done, make sure it's not going to shoot right across that block back there that holds everything in place. So we're going to get started on this cut. I'll show a little bit of it, and then we'll just skip ahead to when it's done. This is done. I did not break a bit this time. However, you can see right here what the difference is between a good bit and a not so good bit. I got all this like fray that happened on this cut that did not happen on the other cut, and the only difference was the bit difference. So I'm not sure what bit that even is. I actually thought that I broke my last 1/8 inch bit when I broke this one right here. That's something I found in a drawer. It's definitely not coated in this. It actually might be a down cut bit instead of an up cut bit. I'm not sure. It's really hard for me to read what's on the side of the bit. But anyways, it cut. I didn't break the bit, mostly because I had this thing out of the way. And I'm going to take this out. I have to sand this anyways, so the frays will be gone. But I'll take this out, get it sanded, and pour some more epoxy in. Now, I'm not going to actually sand this whole thing right now. I'm just going to sand it to get these frays gone. I don't want them to accidentally get down in the epoxy. should just be able to sand right around the surface of this, and those things will break free as soon as I sand through whatever's connecting them. All right, so that's 100 times better. I'm gonna get a vacuum out, clean all this up, and clean up my workbench a little bit, so I have a nice clean space to mix this epoxy up. Now, like usual, I use super clear epoxy, and I use the tabletop one for thin pours. I'll put a link in the description. I really love this stuff. I've been using it for a couple of years. The price is about as good as you can find, and it works great. I don't ever have a problem with it not mixing right. Now, I'm very careful about my ratios, but it mixes up. It always hardens and performs really well. Been very happy with it. So again, link for that will be in the description. I got this leveled this time. The one I did of Florida last night, I kind of forgot to level it. So this time I put some spacers underneath it, got it all leveled up. So we'll mix this up. We're going to put this kind of orangish peach color in and get it poured. All right, so I got what I feel is a pretty creamy looking orange here. And we're just going to pour this one in. I know I didn't do that yesterday, but I don't have to worry about shark teeth moving around or anything like that. So I'm a little bit less worried about the actual pour this time. I'll let it fill in. Also, not overly worried if it overflows a little bit. I don't want to make a mess, but I also don't want to have to sand this thing so much that I don't know. I sanded that last one a lot. It's really close to the top. I kind of would actually like it to go over just a little bit. Just a little bit. We'll see here. Put a little bit more in. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We'll let this dry. It's really hot out. I may get this fan going just to help it cure slower. Just in case the heat can mess something up. But we'll do that. And then we should be ready to sand this, do all the finish work on that. I think that I noticed a few spots on the Florida one I need to just touch up. So get all that done and put the finish on. Here we are next day. This filled in pretty much exactly how I wanted. It overflowed a little bit on this end. I can sand that all out. Feels pretty even right here. Maybe a little low in this corner, but we can get this all sanded and get it fixed. So to save me the boredom, I'm just going to hit this, start with 80 grit, work the whole way up, probably stop at 320 grit, changing paper throughout the process, 120, 180, and so on. And then once I'm done with that, we'll put finish on. These are all done. This is the bottom side. I was asked to sign in the back, so I got a signature done. I let that dry. What I'm going to use is Odie's industrial strength butcher block oil. I use Odie's oil a lot on things I make. I've used this a few times on some coasters. It's pretty nice stuff. It's a little thinner than the traditional Odie's oil, but does a good job. I think it's a good application for this item. So that's what we're going to use. You just apply it with like a Scotch-Brite pad. So just dip it in. Doesn't take a lot. and you just work it into the wood. And you just let it penetrate, and then you're gonna buff it off a little bit later here. So I'm a little worried about going over this name. I don't want it to bleed. I don't think it did, so I think we're good. This stuff a little bit goes a long way, but you can see, as with all Odie's oil products, it really makes the color pop. And I love their products. You get a really good result from them. I've used them on tables numerous times in the past, even on tables I made for a restaurant where they're going to get heavy usage, heavy cleaning, that type of thing. They work great. So the company is very responsive. If you have questions, I actually saw a video of mine years ago when I first started using their product, and I was doing the whole, what every social media woodworker tends to do, spreading it on with a card, and they got a hold of me and said, hey, we see what you're doing, and there's a better way to apply it, and they told me how to apply it with one of these, and they said you'll use less product, you'll get a better result. And I just thought that was pretty good of them to reach out and let me know that doing what every other social media account that uses their product or similar products is doing isn't best for the product and the result I was looking for. So I thought that was good of them. You don't always find companies that will do that, take the time to do that. I've reached out a few times. I had questions when I used their product on those tables in the restaurant. It's like, how do we make these, so they're going to hold up to the cleaning. This is actually right around COVID too. And the cleaning that they're going to need for these tables, like how do we do that? And they gave me some good advice, a couple different products to use. Told me, what the restaurant needed to do for cleaning purposes, and I just was impressed with the company. So, as you can see, does a nice job. I got plenty of product on here, probably a little too much, but we'll let that dry. And we'll come back to it later and buff it out. And I'm just going to do the same thing with this one. And we'll move on. All right, we're going to finish this up. I've let this penetrate for a little while. Just going to come in and wipe off any excess that did not soak in. And I'm just taking just a clean cloth and buffing it real good. Putting some decent pressure downward on this. Kind of like buffing wax off of a car. And just get everything that did not soak. And it's a little bit thicker up here on this handle. It's kind of hard to get it, make it not drip. It was easy to put excess on. Let's just put it that way. So I get a little bit of that off. I'm going down the edges, and there may be a little bit extra on the back because when I was holding this thing, my hand had some of the finish on it, and I'm sure where I grabbed it, it's probably an issue. There you have it. We got the Florida one here. Got the Ohio one here. I think they turned out great. The Rosewood looks so good. Never used it before actually, and really happy with the look. Now, if you're joining me for the first time, my name's Andy. I was actually a high school shop teacher for 18 years, and I decided to create this channel because I wanted to just share my knowledge and just some entertaining values of woodworking. I know there's a lot of people out there that enjoy watching it, and I grew up watching Norm Abram and the New Yankee Workshop and things like that, and so I know there's value in content like this, and I just kind of wanted to bring you along, and hopefully I can help you out along the way. So if you got something out of this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. If it's in the first couple days, you should also see a hype button. If you hit that, it really helps my channel, helps this video get exposure to more people, which I appreciate so much. Now, if you have any questions, please drop any questions you have down there in the comment section, and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible and hopefully clear some things up if you're not sure about something I did or why I did it. Maybe I didn't explain it very well. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.